Hello students, this is part 3 of integers. In our second part of integer, we have studied about properties of addition of integers and subtraction of integers. In this part of integer, we will learn about some properties of multiplication of integer, but before that, we will understand how to multiply two given integers. So let us start. So multiplication of integers. So basically students, there are two rules for multiplying two given integers. Rule 1 is that to find the product of two integers with unlike sign. Unlike sign means opposite sign. Then we find the product of their values regardless of their signs and give a minus sign to the product. It means if we have given two integers having opposite sign, then what we have to do? We have to just ignore their sign and multiply their values. And after multiplying their values, the product that I have, we put a minus sign before that product. For example, you can see here we have given two integers minus 7 and 9. As it is clear that minus 7 is a negative integer and 9 is a positive integer, so they have opposite sign. So when we have to multiply this, what we do? We just multiply 7 into 9. And after multiplying 7 into 9, we get 63. And when we have the product 63, then we put a minus sign before 63. So our result will be minus 63. Why I have put it minus sign here? Because we are multiplying two integers having opposite sign. In second example, you can see that we have to multiply 20 and minus 30. Again, it is clear that 20 is positive integer and minus 30 is negative integer. So we just multiply their values, that is 20 into 30. So after multiplying 20 into 30, we get 600. But we put a sign minus here because we know that we are multiplying two integers having opposite sign. So our result will be minus 600. Now what is rule 2? Rule 2 is to find the product of two integers with same sign. Rule 1 is applicable when two given integers are of unlike sign or opposite sign, but rule 2 is applicable when we have the two integers of same sign. Then again we multiply their values regardless of their sign, and whatever the product that I get after multiplying their values, we put a plus sign before the product. For example, you can see here we have given two integers 12 and 16. So both are positive. So we just multiply their values, that is 12 into 16. After multiplying 12 into 16, we get 192 and we just put a positive sign before 192. So either we put a positive sign or we don't put a positive sign. It is obvious that it is positive number. So our result will be 192. In the same way, when we have to multiply minus 25 into minus 10, you can see that here again the two integers minus 25 and minus 10 both are negative, that is both are of same sign. So we just have to multiply their values, that is 25 into 10. So after multiplying 25 into 10, we get 250 and the sign will be positive because we are multiplying integers of same sign. Now we will study some properties of multiplication of integer. So our first property is closure property for multiplication. Closure property for multiplication state that the product of two integers is always an integer. It means that if we have given two integers, then after multiplying them, the product that I have is also an integer. For example, you can see here 8 into 5. So 8 is an integer and 5 is also an integer. And when we multiply 8 by 5, then we get 40, which is also an integer. Again, in second example, minus 7 into 3, you can see that minus 7 and 3 both are integers. And when we multiply minus 7 to 3, we get minus 21, and you know minus 21 is also an integer. So from these examples, it is clear that the product of two integers is always an integer. Hence, we can say that closure property is followed by for multiplication of integers. Now, our next property is commutative law for multiplication. So what does this property mean? This property states that for any two integers a and b, we have a into b is equals to b into a. It means if we change the order of multiplication, then the value does not changes. For example, you can see here we have given two integers 5 and minus 8. So first we multiply 5 to minus 8, we get minus 40, and in next step we multiply minus 8 to 5, but again we get the same result, minus 40. So it is clear that either we multiply 5 to minus 8 or we multiply minus 8 to 5. We get the same result, that is minus 40. Hence we can say that the integers follow the commutative law for multiplication. Again, in the second example, you can see that we have given two integers minus 4 and minus 6. So first we multiply minus 4 to minus 6, we get the value 24, and again we multiply minus 6 to minus 4, but again we get the same result 24. Hence it is clear that either we multiply minus 4 to 6 or we multiply minus 6 to minus 4, we get the same result of 24. Hence we can say that the integers follow the commutative law for multiplication. Next is associative law for multiplication. So associative law for multiplication state that for any integers a, b and c, we can say that if we multiply c to the product of a and b, then it gives the same value as when we multiply a to the product of b and c. So from this expression it is clear that on left hand side we group the two terms a and b together, and on right hand side we group the two terms b and c together. Let us consider the example for the given integers 3, minus 5 and minus 8. So what we do, first we group the two terms 3 and minus 5. That is, we take the product of 3 and minus 5. And in this product of 3 and minus 5 we multiply it by minus 8. While for right hand side what we do, we group the two terms minus 5 and minus 8, and whatever the product that I get after multiplying minus 5 to minus 8, we multiply this product by 3. So let us see. So for left hand side we have within curly brackets 3 into minus 5, and this product is multiplied by minus 8. So it can be written as minus 15 because 3 into minus 5 is equals to minus 15, and minus 15 is then multiplied to minus 8, which comes out to be 120. And for right hand side we have 3 multiplied by within curly brackets minus 5 into minus 8. So it can be written as 3 into 40 because minus 5 into minus 8 comes out to be 40. So 3 into 40 is equals to 120. So it is clear that the given integers follow the law of association for multiplication. Distributive law of multiplication over addition. So what does this law state? For any integers a, b and c, we have a into b plus c is equals to a into b plus a into c. So from this expression it is clear that the integer a is distributed over the sum of two integers b and c. That's why it is written as a into b, here you can see a into b plus a into c. So a into c. Now let us consider the integers 5, minus 6 and minus 8. So we can write 5 into within curly bracket minus 6 plus minus 8. It is equals to 5 into minus 14 because we know minus 6 plus minus 8 is equals to minus 14. And when minus 14 is multiplied to 5, it comes out to be minus 70. Again, we have within curly bracket 5 into minus 6 plus within curly bracket 5 into minus 8. So it comes out to be minus 30 because 5 into minus 6 is minus 30 and 5 into minus 8 is minus 40. So minus 30 plus minus 40 comes out to be minus 70. Hence it is clear that when 5 is distributed over the sum of minus 6 plus minus 8, it gives the same value as the addition of the product of 5 into minus 6 and 5 into minus 8 gives. This is called the distributive law of multiplication over the addition. Now let us see what is multiplicative identity. So multiplicative identity is such an integer which when multiplied to a given integer produce no effect on it. So we can say that for any integer a, we have a into 1 is equals to 1 into a is equals to a. Here a is the given integer and 1 is the multiplicative integer. Why? Because when 1 is multiplied to a either from right or from left, it produces no effect on the given integer a. Hence 1 is called multiplicative identity for integer. For example, you can see that if we have a given integer 15, then when we multiply 15 to 1, it gives the same integer 15. Or another example, you can see we have a given integer minus 9. So when we multiply minus 9 to 1, again it gives the same result minus 9. it produces no effect on the integer given. Hence, 1 is called multiplicative identity. In the same way, there is a term multiplicative inverse. So, multiplicative inverse of a non-zero integer a, non-zero integer means that integer should not be 0. So, multiplicative inverse of a non-zero integer a is the number 1 upon a. Why? Because you can see that when 1 upon a is multiplied to a, either from right or from left, it gives the result of 1. For example, you can see multiplicative inverse of 5 is 1 upon 5, because you know that when 5 is multiplied to 1 upon 5, it gives the result of 1. Or multiplicative inverse of minus 7 is minus 1 upon 7, because when minus 7 is multiplied by minus 1 upon 7, it again gives the result of 1. Hence, 1 upon the given integer is called the multiplicative inverse of that given integer. Now students, we will study property of 0. So students, you are well aware of the integer 0, that 0 is such an integer which is when multiplied to a given integer, it gives the result of 0. So we can say that for any integer a, we have a into 0 is equals to 0 into a is equals to 0. It means that either the 0 is multiplied from right or left to a given integer a, it gives the result of 0. For example, you can see that we have a given integer 14. When we multiply 14 to 0, it gives the result of 0. In the same way, when we multiply a given integer minus 8 to 0, either from right or from left, it gives the same result as 0. So, 0 is such an integer which is when multiplied to a given integer, it produces a result of 0. Now students, we will solve our exercise 1.3, which is based on the properties of multiplication of integer. So our first problem is that for any integer a, what is the minus 1 into a equal to? And second part is determine the integer whose product with minus 1 gives in first part minus 22 and second part 37. So let us solve. So for first part, we can write for any integer a, we know that minus 1 into a is equals to minus a. That is, when the given integer a is multiplied with minus 1, it gives the same integer with negative sign. Hence, we can say that when a is multiplied with minus 1, it gives minus a, which is negative of the given integer. Now let us solve second part. In second part, we have to determine that integer which when multiplied with minus 1 gives minus 22. So let us solve. So let us suppose that m be that integer such that when m is multiplied with minus 1, it gives minus 22. Hence we can write m into minus 1 is equals to minus 22. And you know minus 22 can be written as minus 1 into 22, because when minus 1 is multiplied with 22, it gives the negative of 22, that is minus 22. Hence we can write m into minus 1 is equals to minus 1 into 22. Now again it can be written as m into minus 1 is equals to minus 1 into 22, which gives m is equals to 22. Hence we can say that 22 is that integer which when multiplied with minus 1 gives minus 22. Now let us come to second part. Suppose that n be the integer such that n into minus 1 gives 37. Again 37 can be written as minus 1 into minus 37, because you know that when we multiply two integers of same sign, then it gives a value with plus sign. That is, when minus 1 is multiplied to minus 37, then it gives the 37 with plus sign. So 37 can be written as minus 1 into minus 37. Again it can be written as n into minus 1 is equals to minus 37 into minus 1. Here you can see minus 1 into minus 37 can be written as minus 37 into minus 1, because we know that multiplication of integers follow commutative law. And from this expression we have n is equals to minus 37. Hence we can say that minus 37 is that integer which when multiplied with minus 1 gives the value of 37. Now let us come to second problem. So our second problem is find the product using suitable properties. It means in this problem we have to use the following properties that I have learned for multiplication of integers, that is like closure property, commutative property, associative property, distributive property, and all these properties. So our first part is 26 into minus 48 plus minus 48 into minus 36. So we have to solve this expression with the help of properties of multiplication of integer. So let us solve. So 26 into minus 48 plus minus 48 into minus 36 can be written as minus 48 into 26 plus minus 48 into minus 36. You can see here that 26 into minus 48 is written as minus 48 into 26. Why? Because of commutative law of multiplication of integer. We know that integers follow commutative law. So a into b can be written as b into a. So 26 into minus 48 can be written as minus 48 into 26. Now from this expression it is clear that minus 48, that is the same integer, is multiplied to 26 and also minus 36 with an operation in between, addition. So by distributive law we can write it as minus 48 into sum of 26 plus minus 36, and sum of 26 plus minus 36 gives out minus 10, so it can be written as minus 48 into minus 10. Again you can see that we are multiplying two integers having same sign, that is negative sign, so it gives the product with positive sign, so it comes out to be 480. So our answer is 480. Now come to next part. In next part we have to solve 8 into 53 into minus 125 with the help of the properties of multiplication of integers. So let us solve. So here you can see that 8 into 53 into minus 125 can be written as 8 into minus 125 into 53. With the help of commutative law, you know that 53 into minus 125 can be written as minus 125 into 53. And this expression becomes equal to minus 1000 into 53, because we know 8 into minus 125 is equals to minus 1000. So we have minus 1000 into 53, which comes out to be 53,000 with negative sign. So our answer is minus 53,000. Now let us see next question. In next question it is given that in a class test containing 10 questions, 5 marks are awarded for every correct answer and minus 2 marks are awarded for every incorrect answer, and 0 marks are given for questions which are not attempted. So here are three parts. First part is Mohan gets 4 correct and 6 incorrect answer. So what is his total score? Reshma gets 5 correct answers and 5 incorrect answers. So what is her score? And third part, Hina gets 2 correct and 5 incorrect answers out of 7 questions that she attempts. So what is her score? So let us solve each of these part one by one. So in our first part it is given that Mohan gets 4 correct and 6 incorrect answers. So what is his total score? And we know that for every correct answer 5 marks is awarded, and for every incorrect answer minus 2 marks is awarded. So let us see. So marks awarded for 4 correct answers is equals to 4 into 5, because each correct answer has 5 marks. So 4 correct answer has 4 into 5, that is 20 marks. And marks awarded for 6 incorrect answer is 6 into minus 2, because every incorrect answer is equals to minus 2 marks. So 6 into minus 2 is equals to minus 12. So what is the total score? Total score of Mohan is equals to 20 plus minus 12, which comes out to be 8. Hence we can say that Mohan gets total 8 score. Now let us see second part. In second part it is given Resma get 5 correct answer and 5 incorrect answer. What is her total score? So marks awarded for 5 correct answer is equals to 5 into 5, which comes out to be 25, and marks awarded for incorrect answer is equals to 5 into minus 2, which comes out to be minus 10. Hence total score of Resma is 25 plus minus 10, which comes out to be 15. So we can say that Resma scored 15 marks in the test. Now come to next part. In next part it is given Hina gets 2 correct and 5 incorrect answers out of 7 questions she attempts. It means that she attempts only 7 questions, but there are 10 questions in the test. So we can say that 3 questions are there which is not attempted by Hina. So let us calculate. Marks awarded for 2 correct answer can be written as 2 into 5, which comes out to be 10, and marks awarded for 5 incorrect answer is equals to 5 into minus 2, which comes out to be minus 10. And again the marks awarded for not attempted question, which is 3, is equals to 3 into 0 is equals to 0. So total score of Hina is equals to 10 plus minus 10 plus 0, which comes out to be 0. It means that Hina scored 0 marks in the test. Now let us see next question. Question number 4. A cement company earns a profit of rupees 8 per bag of white cement sold and a loss of rupees 5 per bag of grey cement sold. So here we have two parts. In first part, the company sells 3000 bags of white cement and 5000 bags of grey cement in a month. What is its profit or loss? While in second part, it is asking what is the number of white cement bags it must sell to have neither profit nor loss if the number of grey bags sold is 6400 bags. So our first part is the company sells 3000 bags of white cement and 5000 bags of grey cement in a month. What is its profit or loss? So we can write profit earned by selling 3000 bags of white cement in a month is equals to 3000 into rupees 8. Why rupees 8? Because we know that the company earns a profit of rupees 8 in selling every bag of white cement. Hence, in selling 3000 bags of white cement, it earns a profit of 3000 into rupees 8 is equals to 24,000 rupees. Again, loss in selling 5000 bags of grey cement in a month can be written as 5000 into rupees 5, because we know that the company has a loss of rupees 5 in selling every bag of grey cement. So in selling 5000 bags of grey cement, the loss occurred is equals to 5000 into rupees 5, which comes out to be rupees 25,000. Now total profit or loss occurred in a month is equals to profit minus loss. Hence there is a profit of rupees 24,000, but there is a loss of rupees 25,000. Hence we can write rupees 24,000 minus rupees 25,000, which comes out to be minus 1,000 rupees. Here the negative sign indicates that the company has a loss of rupees 1,000. So we can write there is a loss of rupees 1,000. In next part, it is asking what is the number of white cement bags it must sell to have neither profit nor loss if the number of grey bags sold is 6400 bags. So let small n be the number of white cement bags which are sold in order to have neither profit nor loss. Then according to question we can write n into rupees 8 is equals to 6400 into rupees 5, because it is given in the question that whatever loss occurred in selling 6400 bags of grey cement is equals to the profit earned in selling n bags of white cement. So we can write n into rupees 8 is equals to 6400 into rupees 5, which can again be written as n is equals to 6400 into rupees 5 upon rupees 8, which comes out to be 4000 bags. So we can say that 4000 bags of white cement must be sold in order to have neither profit nor loss if the number of grey bags sold is 6400 bags. Now students, rest of the question you have to solve by yourself. Thank you.